Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Sheen. This is a live stream. If you guys could hear my audio, give me a thumbs up, say something in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or just say what's up. Let me know my audio was working. You guys can hear me clearly. I think there was at least 5 people. My chat sometimes is a little laggy, so not sure if I could see your chat as soon as you type it. All right, Bobby D Bob, what's up? Thank you for the thumbs up. So audio is working good. Cool. All right. Thank you very much, Bobby D Bob. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, spending some time this evening with me. I want to talk about Workhorse. They had their earnings today. So we'll just wait maybe a couple more minutes, let a few more people join into this live stream. So if you guys are watching this after the fact, if you're watching this in a review play, you might want to just skip to maybe the 2 to 3 minute mark where I'm going to start my presentation. So you could just skip this babble. I'm just here, just waiting for a few more people to join the chat, and we'll get started. Maria Fisher, aloha, welcome. Thank you for joining me. So I put out a video yesterday, I believe. It was either Saturday and Sunday, and I was just, putting out a video basically going over Workhorse, going over what's going on. They're reporting their numbers today, and I had a feeling that it was going to be a good buying opportunity today, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Workhorse stock did, and basically if it is a good buying opportunity today and into tomorrow and the rest of the week. Joe Pena, what's up? Thank you for joining me. All right, we're going to get started in just a few minutes. I'm going to bring up my presentation. Let me see. Let's share my screen with you. So you should be able to see that. I'll probably need to bring it full screen. So let me just bring it full screen for you, and then we'll get started. Guys, remember to give me a thumbs up. If you're watching this on the review play, consider giving me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet already. I appreciate you guys very much. I have over 3,000 subscribers. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for finding some value in my content. I do a lot of work putting these presentations together for you, and I just enjoy it, sharing my opinion with you guys. So, all right, let me bring up my presentation and we'll get started. Thank you guys for waiting. Sorry, one moment. I'm gonna bring this to the full screen. All right. So this, we're in full screen right now, and I can't see your chat. So if you are putting questions, just hold off to the end, and I'll come back and answer any questions at the end. So we're gonna get started. So basically, right now, Workhorse is trading after hours. It was up to about $15.50. Throughout the day, it was trading anywhere between $14 and $15 range. So it was down 7% from Friday. So let's go over my presentation. Before I get started, by the way, I had somebody use my link for Cash App, and I got a $5 bonus. So I didn't put this person's name because I didn't want to just put the person's name without getting their permission. But if you use my link in the description below, you'll get $5 just for using my link, and I'll get $5, and that also helps out the channel. So I appreciate that. Also, Webull gives you 2 free stocks. This is the list of people that use my link for Webull. So I appreciate every single person that used my link for signing up for Webull. You get 2 free stocks if you deposit $100. The current stock right now is Levi is about $12 stock that you get for free just for using my link. So I appreciate that. That really helps out the channel. Also, these free stocks are worth a lot of money. This is a free stock that I got on Robinhood. It is up 99%. So these stocks could be worth a lot of money. They gave me this stock. It's Pebblebrook. It's a hotel trust company. And so, like I said, it's worth. It was a 99% increase from when I first got this free stock. This is another free stock that I got. It's up 135%. Sorrento Therapeutics. They are working on a COVID vaccine. So these stocks could be worth a lot of money. When I got this free stock on Robinhood, it was like $2 or $1. Now it's worth $18. So don't overlook these free stocks. If you don't have Rebull or Robinhood, consider signing up with my link. You get some free stocks. They could be worth a good amount of money. All right. Sorry, guys. That is just getting the business out of the way. Let's get started. So pre-market today, Workhorse was down up to 9.7% at 1491, and that was basically the lowest it went. If anybody picked up this Workhorse pre-market, you got a good deal. Workhorse was not trading in the 14s. I think probably more than 2, maybe 3 weeks ago was the last time it traded in the 1490s, 1480s. So pre-market, it was the lowest it went today. Unfortunately, I wasn't fast enough to pick up this at 1491. So right now, like I said, it was trading after hours at $15.50-ish. It closed at $15.27. So I put out this video yesterday talking about Workhorse. Is it going to drop Monday? So basically, I was alluding to this buying opportunity probably going to happen today on Monday. I put this out yesterday. I had 11,000 views. That is fantastic. I can't believe I get 11,000 views on my videos nowadays, but I appreciate you guys very much for watching my videos, finding content in my videos. So let's get started. Their earnings. Well, basically, I kind of expected this to happen. Q2, the whole illness situation. They were not delivering trucks, and it just shows their numbers are not good for the past couple of years. So it was no big surprise that they missed expectations. They missed in Q4 of 2019. They missed in Q1 of 2020. And Q2 of 2020 was definitely where the whole illness situation really ramped up. So I'm not surprised. I fully expected them to miss their earnings. I didn't think they would miss by this much. They were expected to have a negative 11 cents per share. They actually did negative $1.76 per share. So massive big bomb on their earnings. By the way, this is my Robinhood account. I'm showing you that I have a call option on Workhorse, and just showing you because I don't really talk about my options trading so much, but I do have a call option. It expires of December 2021, and it's a $25 call. So I'm hoping that we get into the $25, maybe $30 range, within the next few months, and I could get rid of this call and make some money on this call. But I like to buy calls way out in the future, so I have a lot of time for my money for my strike price to get in the money. So there it is. I have one contract. I paid $740 for that. So let's get into it, guys. Workhorse second quarter results. So I'm going to go over the highlights. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. So they officially started delivering their new series of truck. They're calling it the C series. So this is their next generation. This is the product that they're shipping to UPS, DHL, Ryder. So these are the next generation trucks that they've been working on. So they shipped a whole 3 trucks. Not very impressive. So they shipped it to Ryder, and it is what it is. They've been having a lot of trouble manufacturing these trucks and getting their ramp up. So they just began production and delivered these 3 trucks. So they became the first medium and heavy duty BEV OEM to receive approval from the EPA and California CARB. So they are permitted to sell their vehicles to basically every single state in the United States, and they have the first movers advantage. They are the only last mile delivery truck for this medium and heavy duty to be able to sell in all 50 states. So that is definitely a plus. They could definitely build upon that. They have also affirmed that they are going to target their 300 to 400 vehicles in 2020. So they reaffirmed that goal. In August, Lordstown Motors, LMC, they basically came out a couple of weeks ago or last week, said that they are going to merge with Diamond Peak, and they're going to trade under the NASDAQ under RIDE, RIDE. So, Lordstown, sorry, Workhorse owns 10% of Lordstown. And so this 10% ownership after this merger is going to be worth roughly $160 million. So, basically overnight that Workhorse is going to be worth $160 million. So that is definitely a plus for this strategic partnership with Lordstown Motors. So in July, they also were eligible for the HVIP from California. So they will be able to get vouchers up to $50,000 per vehicle that they sell in California. So that is a lot of good news. They received a purchase order for 20 of their C1000 trucks from eTrucks, but they delivered. So I don't know why this says 2 trucks, the 2 C1000 trucks, because in the previous slide they said there was 3 deliveries. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Is it 2 or is it 3? I'm not sure if it even makes a big difference. But anyways, they delivered 2 to 3 trucks to Ryder. So going over their financial results, a big dud, $92,000. That was revenue in Q2, and the biggest concern is how much they spent in order to make this $92,000. They spent $1.5 million. So the cost of goods sold was $1.5 million. So that's not a good way to run a business. Obviously, if you spend $1.5 million and you only made $92,000, you're not doing good. Your business is in trouble. This is what happens when you first ramp a vehicle. And so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Once they start producing and get their numbers up, that they're going to be able to bring their cost of goods down and the revenue up. And so that is what they need to do very desperately. So they're saying that the increase of their cost of goods sold was basically the increase of labor and materials relating to the C-Series production. And like I said, they're ramping up a new vehicle, so they would be ramping up their cost. But it's just as an investor, it is not good to see cost being so high when the revenues are so low. Their interest expense increased $124 million, and that's also a bad sign. But the CEO did elaborate on this, and for the time being, I'm okay with the situation. So basically, he said it should be noted that the significant increase of $108 million in the interest expense was almost exclusively for the change in fair value of their convertible notes. So basically, what he's saying is, because the stock price, so understand that the stock price shot up from $1.81 at the end of March to $17.39 in just 1 month time. From March to June, it shot up from $1.81 to $17.39. And so this increase in their interest expense was due to that of their stock price going up, because they had warrants out. They had warrants that people were buying for a lot cheaper than what they redeemed them for. So back in March and before March, these warrants were, I'm not sure what they were. They're probably pennies on the dollar. And when the stock price shot up to $17.39, a lot of people cashed in their warrants. And so when people cash in their warrants, the company has to issue them shares at the current going price. So those people made a lot of money, buying warrants for cheap, and then wait for the stock price to go up to $17, and they cash in those warrants. So that is what is caused that increase of their interest. So it's not a cash deal; it's kind of more all stocks. So for the time being, I'm not too concerned about this increase in their interest expense. But here are their numbers again. So net sales 91,000, cost to get that 91,000 was 1.5 million. A little worrisome. Their net loss was $131 million versus $20 million in the previous year. So this is their balance sheet. They have $35 million in total assets, but they have $105 million in total liabilities. So the situation right now is they need revenue ASAP. they need to get this USPS contract. If they don't get this contract, uh, it's going to be bad news. I think their stock price is going to go back down to like $5, $6 range. If they don't get this contract, it's going to look really bad. Their balance sheet is not going to be able to handle it. And like I said, they're trying to ramp up their production, but they're only expected, even if they complete their expectations for 2020, it's only going to be 300 to 400 trucks, and that is not enough to make up for their loss in revenue. So I want to share with you basically something that I heard on the conference call that I kind of predicted, and I said in my previous videos, I said in my Lordstown videos, and I said in my Workhorse videos. If you listen to those videos before, I talked about this situation where Workhorse is not capable of producing all these USPS trucks. They're only expected to produce 300 to 400 trucks in 2020. They've been in business for over 10 years. In their whole history, even the CEO has said in their whole history, producing out of their facility in Indiana, in Union City, they're at the most they only produce about 60,000 chassis at one time. So this contract is to produce 180,000 vehicles. Now, I don't know. We don't know the time span. I don't know if it's going to be within 2 years, within 5 years. That detail is not yet out. But look, I'm a bull on Workhorse. I invested in them. I have calls in them. So I'm just a realist. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying, wait a minute. At the most, your facility in Union City was producing in its heyday. It was about 60,000 chassis at one time. In 2020, you're only expecting to do 300 to 400 vehicles this year. So how are you going to be able to do your 300, 400 vehicles, for Ryder, for UPS, for all those other people, and then also build another 100 to 180,000 United States Postal Service trucks? They're not going to be able to do it. And that's just facts. That's just the history. That's just the numbers. They're not capable of doing that. So I predicted that they're going to have to outsource that. And who are they going to outsource it to? They're going to outsource it to Lordstown Motors, the company that they have 10% stake in, right? The company where the CEO is the former CEO of Lordstown, is the founder of Lordstown. Their endurance truck, Lordstown's endurance truck, is the technology of Workhorse. That's a Workhorse truck, the W15. That truck was basically, the rights of it was sold to Lordstown for them to produce it, because Workhorse cannot produce these trucks. So they outsourced it, and they basically sold the rights to Lordstown in order for them to manufacture the truck. Now, Lordstown has this remodeled facility that's capable of pumping out roughly 600,000 vehicles. It's a tried and true facility. It's a former GM facility. So it is tried and true. It is capable of producing up to 600,000 vehicles. Now, they're not going to produce 600,000 of those Lordstown trucks. So what are they going to do there? All this remodeling, they're going to, my opinion, is going to get that contract, and at least a big portion of it, of the United States Postal Service truck, is going to be produced at Lordstown. Lordstown is able to produce those United States Postal Service trucks for a cheaper price than they can do themselves in Union City. So that is my prediction, and I'll play you the clip of the CEO talking about this, about their strategy, because they had this question on their conference call, basically saying, hey, exactly what I just said. What is your plan for producing, if you get this contract? What is your plan for producing hundreds of thousands of trucks? And anybody that looks into their numbers knows that they can't do it. So I'll play the clip for you. I have it queued up. So give me 1 second. Let me just cue it up for you, and I'll play you the clip of CEO talking about what he's planning to do in order to get. All right. So here you go. Hope the audio is going to be okay.
Hey, Greg, this is Steve. As you know, we can't say anything about the post office. So let me say it this way: is that Union City certainly has the ability and the history that can be really on any capacity level, and has done 60,000 chassis, I think, in its history. So it does have that ability to do that. What I will say is that what we will look at is the capital we may have to put in there from a standpoint of automate systems, and the cost that we would have to do, and we would look at other areas and places that we could do actually sub-assembly and subcontracting. And I think you had mentioned earlier, at least first, is Lordstown. I think Lordstown's a great example of that, where it's a 6 million square foot facility that we would take a portion of that probably, and they could possibly do it at a lower cost than what we could do it for. So that's certainly something we would evaluate. Dwayne might have more to kind of add here too.
Clearly, we have been evaluating that, and that's been part of our long-term strategy, at least understanding if and when it would be capable. But it goes beyond just the plant itself. It's also the technologies.
All right, guys. So there you go. Basically, without officially 100% saying that they're going, if they get this contract, they will be producing the United States Postal Service trucks out of Lordstown. Now, he didn't say definitively, but you heard it right there. That is something that they have looked into and they would be considering. And I'm just saying that is the only logical play. They could produce, maybe 40, maybe 50,000 of these USPS trucks out of their Union City facility, but they're not going to be able to produce all the trucks that they need with this USPS contract. So I think the play here is that they have to prove to the United States Postal Service that they can meet their production to do all 100 to 180,000 vehicles out of their Union City facility and out of Lordstown's facility. And again, that brings a lot of jobs to Ohio. That is very important because that is where Donald Trump needs a lot of votes. That is where he promised the people of Ohio that he was going to bring jobs. That is the whole backstory of why Lordstown purchased that plant. It was a former GM plant. The Trump administration worked that backroom deal instead of closing at that plant, instead of closing that GM plant, because they were going to shutter that plant and just put everybody out of work. But there was a deal that was, kind of facilitated by the Trump administration to not close down that plant, to sell it to Lordstown. And so, the Trump administration did orchestrate or partially orchestrate that plan. And so Trump did get a little bit of credit for doing that, but still he needs to bring more jobs to Ohio. No Republican has ever won the presidency without getting Ohio. And, the first presidential debate is going to be in Ohio. It's going to be in Cleveland. So my prediction is he wants to get on that stage in the front of the people of Ohio and say, look, I rescued this plant. I did this. I did this. I did this. I brought all these jobs here. I want your vote. That's my prediction. So that's the backstory of Lordstown, Ohio, and Workhorse. So there you I played it. I played it for you. That is they already thought about this, and I'm just continuing to say this, that they have to prove that they will be able to produce these 100,000 to 180,000 trucks for the USPS out of Lordstown / Union City. If they can't prove that they can do that, I think the contract is going to be awarded probably 50-50. 50% of it will go to Workhorse. The other 50% will go to Oshkosh / Ford. It's just what it is. Yes, Ford and Oshkosh is going to produce a gasoline vehicle. They'll be able to use it for, I think, another maybe 10 or 15 years, whatever. There's, the regulation out there is that they have to become 100% zero emissions. I forgot the date. I think it's 2030 or 2040. I forget. But anyways, it is what it is. If Workhorse cannot prove that they can produce all 180,000 vehicles out of Lordstown / Union City, they're going to have a backup. USPS is not going to put all their eggs into one basket if Lordstown and Workhorse cannot prove that they can produce these trucks. And so, that is why there's that strategic partnership with Lordstown for them to produce these USPS trucks. So if they do, I believe that they will at least get 75% or up to 100% of this USPS contract. If they can't prove to USPS that they are able to produce all those vehicles, then I think 50% of it will be awarded to Oshkosh/Ford, and 50% will be awarded to Workhorse. So guys, that's my presentation. If you are watching this after the fact, after this live stream, just fast forward to maybe it was like the 4 or 5 minute mark where I started my presentation, and I just ended it at the 25-minute mark. So if you just want to watch that presentation, it's between about 4 minutes and 25 minutes, so you don't have to listen to me babble. So guys, I am going to look over the chat and see if I could answer some questions. Thank you guys for joining me. I have 88 people in here, so 93 people in here now. So thank you very much for joining me. If you're joining me late, just please watch the replay. Again, I went over the whole presentation of my Workhorse of their Q2 numbers, and I played back some audio from their presentation. So between 5 minutes and 25 minutes, that's a presentation. All right, guys, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet already, consider subscribing. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's go over some questions. I'm going to scroll down. Freddie Islam, what's up, bro? Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you very much. So Joe Pena, appreciate you too. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found the news interesting, and I hope you got some value out of it. Doc Wiffley, what will happen to DPHC stock merge with Ride? Yeah, so DPHC is Diamond. What is it? Diamond Peak, right? Diamond Peak. They are going to bring Lordstown to the public markets. It's going to be traded on the NASDAQ, and the new ticker is going to be RIDE, RIDE. So that is going to happen in Q4 of 2020. We don't have an official date, but it's going to be sometime in Q4 of 2020. So, right now, I didn't check what DPHC is trading for today. I still think it's in the $12 range. So this is a SPAC. So if you guys don't know much about SPACs, so SPACs trade at roughly the $10 range. They come onto the market at $10 and change. And so that money, if you buy at $10, everybody that buys at that low $10 range, all that money is put into a trust. So that money does not go to the company. It's put into a trust. So if the merger breaks up, something happens, it falls through, everybody will get their money back up to that $10. So there's a level of safety there. So it will never go to zero. If the SPAC needs to re-sign their agreement, because they have 2 years to make this thing happen, to make this merger happen. If they don't, they could ask for an extension, and if they're still aren't able to come to an agreement to do a merger, what happens is basically the company dissolves, and everybody that invested in them, up to the $10 price point, they will get all their money back. So there's a level of protection there. So if you could get into a SPAC at $10, $11, maybe $12, you're guaranteed to get your money back if something falls through, if the deal never happens. So there's a level of safety there. So right now, DPHC, Diamond Peak, is trading, I believe it's about $12 and change. I don't think it has changed much. So that is still pretty low. I would say anywhere in the $11 to $12 is pretty decent and a good level of safety to get into Lordstown before the merger. That's my opinion. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, just sharing my opinion with you guys. Let's see. Matt Cinco, warrants usually expire worthless. They're great when they don't, though. Oh yeah, so it depends on if we're talking about a SPAC. So a SPAC, if the merger doesn't happen and you buy warrants in a SPAC, they will expire worthless. So that money has no protection. If you buy a warrant in a SPAC, and if the SPAC doesn't do the merger, you will lose every single dollar that you bought warrants with. So that is the dangerous part about buying warrants in a SPAC. But if the merger happens and the price shoots up, that's exactly what happened to Nikola. They had warrants, they're probably trading for $2, $1. And after the merger, their stock shot up to $80, $90. So people could trade in those warrants. I think you have to pay like $11 and change. So basically, probably $12, $13 total for each warrant, and then you would get a stock that at the time was worth $80, $90, and you could just turn around and sell it back to the market. So massive gains when you use warrants in that way. A warrant is just a right to buy a share before a certain day at a certain price. Correct. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that. So basically, a warrant is just like options. But options, you're trading with another person. If you buy or sell an option, you sell it to another investor, another retail investor, or a institutional investor. But a warrant comes from the company. And so that was what this Workhorse issue is. Basically, they had warrants when their stock price was at like $1, $2. And then from March to June, their stock price shot up to like $17. So all those people that had warrants when the stock price was at the $1, $2 range, they cashed in their warrants when the stock shot up to $17. And so when that happens, the company, Workhorse, has to release more shares of Workhorse to the people that own those warrants, and it dilutes the shares, but it also is money coming directly from Workhorse, and so that's why they had such that high interest rate there. Eddie, thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you find any value in my videos and my live stream, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet already. Eddie from Long Beach, California. Hey, what's up? Welcome for joining me. Your question is Workhorse still a good buy, though? It just all depends on if you believe they're going to get this USPS deal. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion. So watch my other videos about Workhorse, and you'll quickly, come to the conclusion that I do believe that Workhorse is going to get at least a significant portion of this USPS deal. And so if that is kept in mind, then I think Workhorse is a good buy. But that is all speculation. If they don't get this USPS deal, then I expect Workhorse to be down in like $5, $6 range. So in that situation, then it's not a good deal, obviously, but it all hinges on this USPS deal. If there wasn't this USPS deal, let's be real. People are buying Workhorse. I would say like 97% of people that are buying Workhorse is because they are expecting them to get this USPS deal. If this USPS deal was not on the table, this company is horrible. They have a horrible balance sheet. They're not making any revenue. They're spending $1.5 million in order to make $93,000. Just think about what I just said. In Q2 of this year, they spent $1.5 million in order to get revenues of $93,000. I understand they're just wrapping up this new vehicle, but still, with that balance sheet, and they delivered a whole 3 trucks, a whole 3 trucks to Ryder. So, if this USPS deal was not on the table, this company is nobody would be invested in this company. Put it that way. So that's my opinion, guys. Eddie, take that for what it's worth. Thank you very much for the question. Sorry, let me just scroll down. Let me just scroll down my chat. I have a lot of chats to go through. Some of them have been delayed, so I'm not seeing all the chats as soon as you type them. Victor Cabrera, thanks for the question. Has USPS received that money? USPS received that money. What money? USPS has, I think, what is it, like $6.8 billion. So that is, from Congress, it's earmarked for them to spend. So that money is already there. They have to award this contract to somebody. If they don't, then basically that contract is going to go bye-bye. September 30th is the end of the fiscal year of the USPS. They start their 2021 fiscal year on October 1st. So that is why in my previous video, if you haven't watched that yet, if you haven't watched that video already, check out that video. I put, I think, 2 videos out on Workhorse going through this whole thing. But October 1st is when they start their new fiscal year 2021. So if they don't award the contract by September 30th, then that $6.8 billion just goes bye-bye. They will have to rework that whole deal. And so I don't think that's going to happen. It's just like any company. If you're given money from corporate and you don't spend it next year, you're probably not going to get that money, or you're probably going to get a lot less money. So it's kind of like use it or lose it deal. So I do expect them to announce by September 3rd. Not announce. They might not announce it, but they will award it by September 30th. So who knows when they will make an official announcement, though. Noah Ark, thank you for joining me. Appreciate you. Hope you appreciate my videos. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet already. Victor, is Ford a close second in your opinion? Ford helped out with ventilators. So I said about 10 minutes ago, I think if Workhorse cannot prove that they're going to be able to produce 100,000, 180,000 of these vehicles, then I think Oshkosh/Ford will get 50% and Workhorse will get 50%. So I talked about that for like 7-8 minutes, for about 5 minutes long. I talked about what that situation is. So rewind if you didn't catch that. Basically, I went over why I think Ford will get at least 50% of this contract if Workhorse cannot prove to USPS that they are capable of producing these trucks. And so I talked about that at length. So go back and watch that for the replay. Powder D Room D, what's up? Thank you for joining me. Workhorse for the win. Absolutely. At least I am a Workhorse bull. I do recognize that they have a lot of problems, their revenue problems, their debt problems. But if they get this USPS contract, a lot of those problems will go away. Workhorse is a great buy now. Germain, yes. I think it is a good buy now. It is on sale. It is trading around the $15 range. It went up to about $17 not too long ago. So I think $14, $15 is definitely a good buy. Because I fully expect them to get at least a decent portion of this USPS contract. If they don't, then it's not a good buy. How high can Workhorse get in 1 to 2 months? And when is the deadline for the announcement who gets the USPS contract? Thanks for the question, man. So in 1 to 2 months. So basically, I said, I think they're going to announce who's going to get this contract by September 30th. By 1 to 2 months, if Workhorse does get at least a decent portion of this, I could see Workhorse at least doubling. So right now it's about $15. I would say it could be at least $30, maybe $30 to $40. As soon as the Workhorse is announced that they get a decent portion of this contract, I could see it in the probably $30 to $40 range. Is just my opinion. Who knows? It's the market. It all depends on how many people are willing to buy the stock, really. Deadline September 30th. That is when USPS needs to award this contract. So they might not make an announcement on September 30th, but they will have to award this contract. Joe Pena, thanks for the question. Would you recommend buying Diamond Peak? I don't recommend buying anything. I never recommend buying anything. I'm not a financial advisor. I just give you my opinion. So I'll go over my opinion really quick. My opinion is Diamond Peak is trading at roughly the $12 range right now. It's a SPAC. The lowest price for the SPACs are roughly the $10 range. So if you get in at the bottom, or 10, 11, I think $12 is decent. There's a level of safety there. Also, they are Diamond Peak and Lordstown. They are targeting a market that nobody else is targeting, and that's the fleet market. The fleet market, trucks that are bought by the hundreds, tens to hundreds of trucks at a time. This is like utility companies, construction companies. They don't buy one or two trucks. They're not targeting the consumer market like pretty much everyone else is. Like Cybertruck is more for the consumer market. Rivian is more for the consumer market. The Badger, Nikola Badger, is more for the consumer market. There's no other truck out there that's coming out that's electric that is targeting the fleet market. Like I said, people, companies that buy these trucks, they buy them tens at a time, hundreds at a time. So the only other company that is going to target the fleet market in the next 1 to 2 years is Ford with their F-150. But that's not expected to come out until 2022. So they definitely have first movers advantage. They're going to be the first to market, with a electric pickup truck. So that is my opinion, strictly my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. Check out my Lordstown video if you want some more information. John Abraham, thanks for the question. Is NIO or Workhorse a better buy? No, I can't say which is a better buy. I've talked about my thoughts on NIO. I haven't really looked too deep into NIO, but my thoughts about NIO is I don't want to buy the number 2 or number 3 or number 4 player in the consumer EV space. I want to buy the number 1 player. If the number 1 player still has a lot of room to grow, Tesla is expected to grow at 40 to 50% compound annually. So that is massive, massive growth for the number 1 player. So why would I want to buy a number 2 player if it's questionable if they're going to grow at 20%, 30%, even if they are going to grow at 60%? That's not guaranteed, in my opinion. In my opinion, I believe Tesla is guaranteed to grow minimum 40% year over year. And so my money, if my money could grow 40% year over year, and I'm invested in the number 1 player, that to me, that's a no-brainer. So that's the only reason why I would not invest in NIO, because the number 1 player still has a lot of room to grow. Now, let's say this is 10 years later. Tesla has built out all their factories. They're already number 1. They have all their other products out, and now they're only growing at 10%, maybe 15%. Then it'll be a good time to look at some other players that could grow at 20%, 30%. But right now, since Tesla still has some massive growth ahead of them, why not? Why would you not invest in the number 1 player with guaranteed, in my opinion, guaranteed 30 to 40%, maybe even 50% growth year over year? So that's my thoughts on NIO. So if that is my question, if that's my choices between NIO and Workhorse, I would choose Workhorse only because I personally believe that they're going to get a decent portion of this USPS contract. Thanks for the question. I don't know. NIO is doing really well in China, plus China is backing them. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. NIO is pushing out cars. They're doing good numbers, but they are bleeding money. They are not. They're losing money for every single car that they produce. They're doing a lot of things to bring in to build the brand. They have a lot of money building these NIO buildings. They're like entire buildings where NIO customers could go in and like have a cup of coffee and like that. That's like they're just trying to get the market, but they're spending a lot of money to do that, and which is the opposite of what Tesla's doing. Like Tesla doesn't spend any of that money. Tesla spends all their money on building factories, doing next generation batteries, doing self-driving. So in my opinion, I am more inclined to invest in a company that is spending their money to do next generation growth, next generation batteries, versus a company that's spending their money just trying to market themselves. That's just my opinion. But again, they are producing pretty awesome cars, and they are putting out some good numbers. John Abraham, thank you again for another question or another comment. I also think Helion will be a good stock. Absolutely, I'm invested in Helion. Helion did good today. I think it was up to $20 today. So Helion is staying strong at the $19 to $20 range. It's been fluctuating in between $18 and $20 for the longest time now, probably close to a month. So that tells me that there's a lot of long-term investors, and so that's a good sign for a person that's looking into Helion as a long-term play, because a lot of people are in it for the long term, and that's why the price is still so stable. $18 to $20. It's been at that range for about a month, and I was buying Helion stock all the way down from $25. I bought at $25, and I bought at $18 and change. So I've been buying all the way down in that price movement. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions. We're coming up at 45 minutes. So I'm sorry if I don't get to all your questions, but thank you guys for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't yet already. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet. I do a lot of videos about a lot of EVs, a lot of SPACs, a lot of videos about Tesla. So if you enjoy that content, consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Let me see if we could get some more questions, and then we're going to wrap this up. Let's see. Richard, do you think Workhorse should undercut Nikola on those garbage trucks? Good question. So yeah, the news came out today that Nikola was going to produce garbage trucks for, I think, what was the company? Forgot what the company is. Sorry, but for garbage, they're going to produce garbage trucks, and that's a brilliant play. I think. I'm surprised that Helion is not going to move into this space. These garbage trucks are like, I think $180,000, maybe $200,000 for each truck, and that's just for the regular combustion engine trucks that's out today. But I definitely think players like Workhorse and Helion should move into this space and just pretty much crush Nikola. So that's my opinion. I don't think Workhorse, just because Workhorse is not capable. Facts are facts. Like I said, I'm a Workhorse bull. They are not capable of putting out any more trucks. They're expected to make 300 to 400 trucks in their facility this year. If they get this USPS contract, they're going to be doing 100 to 180,000 trucks. So there's no way Workhorse is going to be able to ramp up and do all that, plus get into garbage trucks. But Helion, on the other hand, I think that's an awesome play for Helion to undercut Nikola, get in there and produce some garbage trucks. And basically their technology it's the same thing. All they're doing is swapping out the drivetrain and putting an electric axle in the truck. So I don't see why they can't do it for garbage trucks. I mean, you could take a garbage truck right now and just swap out one of the axles for one of their electric axles, and you're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on gas. So I think that's a good play for Helion, actually. Thanks for the question. Awesome question. See. Will USPS split their contract? So I talked about this earlier. I think USPS would split their contract if Workhorse cannot prove to them that they're able to produce 100 to 180,000 vehicles between their Union City facility and between the Lordstown facility. If they cannot prove that they're capable of doing it, I think Ford and Oshkosh will get probably 50% of this contract. But if they do prove to the USPS that they can produce 100 to 180,000 vehicles out of Union City and out of Lordstown, then I think they'll get at least 75%, if not 100% of that contract. Google account. Please say something about Candy. Thanks. Honestly, I haven't looked much into Candy. All I know is they're a cheap EV manufacturer out of China, and they have agreed that they're going to start selling in the United States. That's all I know. I know their stock price went like, what was it, like 200, 300%. So honestly, I don't know much about Candy. I wouldn't buy it right now because it's already, the time to buy it is when nobody was talking about it. And so now that everyone's talking about it, it's already, in my opinion, already too late. Just a few more questions. I want to wrap this up. Tyler Camarera, thanks for the question. Do you think the Moving Forward Act is pivotal for the USPS contract being granted, at least partially, to Workhorse? Yeah, of course. I mean, they are the only EV company that's left. There's only 3 companies left. One is the Turkish company, Karzan. They will be producing, if they get the contract, they will be producing the trucks in the United States. But at the end of the day, it is a Turkish company. I think Trump will get eaten alive if he or the USPS, awards this company, especially with the times, especially what's going on with in today's society, that they award this $6.8 billion contract to a non-U.S. company. I think Trump and the USPS will get destroyed and eaten up, especially since this is all like in the public eye. A lot of the military trucks. So Oshkosh produces military trucks, and that doesn't make front page news. That's not on CNBC. But this whole deal with the USPS and Workhorse, this is on CNBC. I think the CEO was just on CNBC like 2 days ago. So this is in the front page news. That these trucks and the contracts. So I think Trump will get eaten alive if he doesn't award at least half of this contract to Workhorse. And if he awards the full contract to a Turkish company, I think that is just political suicide. So, yes, to answer your question, absolutely, they will get at least a part of this contract. I think at least 50%. Again, if 50%, if they cannot prove that they could produce all these vehicles, they will get 50%. If they can prove they could produce all the vehicles, I think they'll get at least 75 to 100%. Thanks for the question, Tyler. Let's see. I'm scroll down my chat. Andrew, Lordstown Motors to the moon. Buy as much stocks as you can right now before Q4. Yeah. So, Q4 is when they're going to merge, and so right now they're trading at, I think, $12, which is pretty decent. Again, it's a SPAC. $10 is the floor there. A couple more questions. Long. Do you feel Workhorse Q2 earnings show potential weakness in management's ability to deliver strong numbers? They have under-delivered every quarter for the last 1.5 years. Yeah, so like I said earlier, if it wasn't for this USPS contract, let's be real. I don't care if you're the biggest Workhorse bull. You cannot look at the history of this company. You cannot look at their revenue, at their balance sheet, and say this is a good company to invest in if it wasn't for this USPS deal. They have a terrible balance sheet. Their numbers are steadily declining. They've been producing 3 trucks for this quarter. So they're not a strong company. So this USPS deal is the thing that's going to transition this company. If they don't get this deal, this company is essentially worthless, in my opinion. So somebody that has invested in this company, I showed you earlier in my stream, I showed you I have a 2021 call on Workhorse, and I have I don't know how many. I think I have 75 shares. I think 70 to 75 shares are close to 80 shares probably right now of Workhorse. So as a person that believes in the company, believes that they will get this contract, I fully understand if they don't get this contract, this company is worthless to me. So yeah, that I hope that answers your question. So yeah, they've been under delivering, and they've been trying to make moves with the Lordstown deal, which was a brilliant move, actually, in my opinion, a brilliant move for their Lordstown strategic partnership. And I think that has played into is them building out vehicles in the Lordstown facility. So hope that answers your question. Thank you for the question. I'm just going to get probably 1 or 2 more questions, and I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't yet already, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Let's see. Jesker, hope I said your name right. Is it a good time to buy Tesla stock? Do you think it's going down this year? Thank you for the question. So Tesla stock has been amazingly stable. Tesla stock is traditionally very volatile. In the last year, it's been everywhere from 100 to 1700. In the past 6 months, it's been anywhere from like 300 to 1700. So very volatile stock traditionally. But since Q2 results were out, they've been stable. They've been trading at basically between 14 and 1500 for the last, was it 2.5 weeks now? Almost 3 weeks. They've been incredibly stable. So what that tells me is this is a new strong line for Tesla. So I expect the Tesla to go down into the $1,200, maybe $1,000 price range. They're very stable. They have very strong support at the $1,000 level. I really don't see them falling below $1,000. $1,000 is just that kind of psychological thing. If people see Tesla below $1,000, I think they're going to swoop in and buy as much as possible. And so I don't think it'll ever fall below $1,000. So to answer your question, I think it does not go down this year. So Tesla stock is just waiting on more news. Because the stock's not going to move unless news comes out. That's the only thing that's going to move the stock. So let's look forward. What is the news that's going to come out? So S&P 500 inclusion, it could be announced within the next few weeks. So S&P committee, I think they're supposed to meet in September, sometime at the end of September. That announcement can come in September. Sometimes they announce earlier. They could possibly announce in August. As soon as that comes out, that's going to pop the stock. Battery day, they're going to talk about their million-mile battery. They're going to talk about their Maxwell battery. I dropped a video on Tesla Battery Day about what I suspect that they're going to talk about. I have a full video out. I did a live stream, so that's an hour-long video. But if you just want to watch the 15-minute video, I just chopped that video down into 15 minutes. So just look in my channel. I have a video about Tesla, about their Battery Day, about 15 minutes long, about what they're going to announce and basically the whole thing about Battery Day. So check out that video. So Battery Day, that's the next news. The plaid powertrain for the Model S. Model S is gonna get a revamp. It hasn't gotten a redesign in, what is it? I think maybe 8 years, something like that. So a revamped plaid powertrain Model S. So all this news cycle is gonna come out, towards the end of the year. So all this news is gonna push Tesla stock up. So I don't think it's gonna fall anywhere lower than what it is now. So that's just my opinion. Kathy Woods from ARK believes in Workhorse. Yeah, so ARK, their ARK Q does have Workhorse, but I think it's only like 1% or maybe 2% of that ETF. So it's not a big position, but yes, they do have Workhorse. I think they have about $7 million worth of Workhorse. All right, last question. Let's see. Evan Lee. If Workhorse is awarded USPS, do you think they partner up with Lordstown Merger to ramp up e-delivery vehicles? And this will be good news for DPHC. So I think you probably joined late. So I basically talked about that for, I think, 10, 15 minutes. So to answer your question real quick, yes, I do think that they will partner up. I think that is the whole strategy that they did talk about on their conference call. Watch my video, watch the replay. I talked about exactly what your question is, and I replayed a clip from their conference call where they did discuss about them possibly producing the USPS trucks out of Lordstown. So go back and watch the replay for the full answer on your question. I don't want to spend another 15, 20 minutes talking about that. So guys, I'm coming up on 1 hour. So thank you guys very much. I have 156 people on this live stream. That is very impressive. Very humbled that you guys join me and find value in my content. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't yet already. Consider subscribing. Use my links in the description below. You'll get free stocks from Webull, from Webull or Robinhood. If you don't have Cash App, use my link. You'll get $5. Somebody used my link today, and I got $5 for it, and they got $5 for it. So it really supports the channel. Thank you guys very much. I have over 3,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. I value all your time. Catch you in the next one. Peace.